Well, friends, as we come into Memorial Day weekend, I wanted to take a minute just to update the tank status. This is the bow tank in the living room that you've seen many times before, and those pearl gouramis always look so great. What's new in this tank? Well, you know, over time I've noticed certain plants do well at certain times and others fade, and I wish I understood the chemistry of that, and I've had enough working with the chemical agents to for that to be nothing more than an excuse to understand why. For example, right now the Anacris that you're seeing here to the right and to the left, and that is a small plant that I bought at Petco, and it's doing very well. Green, growing long stems, thriving. On the other side is some of the same, but that just came out of the office tank. It was kind of scraggly, but it seems to be reacting well to its new home here. And so what is it that makes that work? And then that beautiful center plant that we've been talking about is down to only like 2 or 3 leaves. That one right there. The algae has overtaken some of the leaves, and I've pinched them off as they've died. But that was thriving. It must have had about 10 big leaves on it, and now it's down to just 2 or 3. Now the other thing that I'm very pleased with is the color in the hygrophila that you see here. You see the reddish on the ends of the stems, and that's doing very well. The stems of the plant that have been in there a while have a lot of algae on the stem itself, but the leaves seem to be still hanging in there and adding some real different color in that reddish ends that you see there. And so I'm very pleased with that, and that seems to be thriving too despite the algae. And I've been working hard at the algae, okay? I've actually, the tank looked real scrungy back just a week or so ago. And what it was some of the gravel had the algae growing on the individual pebbles. And so for the past week, every other night or so, I've gotten my hands in the tank and actually taken out one piece of gravel at a time. And so right now it looks pretty clean, and it's making the whole tank look pretty good. The other thing that I did, and I think I may have mentioned that in the last update, and that was I turned this light off in the afternoon now from noon until 5. I used to turn it off for 2 hours. Now I'm turning off for 5 hours. So it comes on around 7:30 in the morning, goes off at noontime, comes back on around 5, and then goes off about 9:30 or 10. And that seems to be helping, not seeing the growth of the algae. And I've slowly taken some of the fixtures in here out one at a time and really worked on it to get the algae off. It's amazing the adhesion property of that algae. I mean, you really, really, really have to work hard to get it off. And as you can see back here, that one piece past the plants, the algae is not thriving for a change, and that's good. And so I need to take that piece out and maybe get it as white as the one over here, which I had out last week and cleaned off. And you see, that was, you could not see the white in that piece last week. And it probably took me maybe 20 minutes to really scrub and scrub and scrub with wire brushes to get that off. So right now this tank is looking pretty good. I've added some recent additions of platies, add some color to it. We just lost one of the big angels just the other day, but the rest of them continue to thrive. He wasn't doing well for a couple days, so it wasn't a surprise. And my pride and joy are the pearl gouramis here. And plant-wise, we've got a couple Amazon swords here that are not growing out, but by keeping the leaves that pick up that algae trimmed off, they're staying at least green. And so you see behind that another hygrophila plant. And over here I just went to the fish factory over in Bristol, Pennsylvania, and picked up what turned out to be 2 plants. I actually paid for one, and the way he put it in the bag, I ended up with 2. And that really big one of those long stem plants is what I was buying, and was pleasantly surprised to find I had 2 of them for the same $3.99. So we'll see how that does. Again, it's one of those plants that will do well for a while, and then whether the chemistry changes, I don't know. Water change goes on about once a week. About a third of the tank gets changed out, and so that's sort of what's happening on this end. I don't think there's anything else of note. Oh, there is 3 new fish here, and it was called a pin ribbon fish of some kind. And I'm just looking up here in the corner. They look beautiful in their tank, but these zebras are chasing them, so I'm probably going to have to take them out of here because they're going to be destroyed very quickly. Beautiful fish, especially as they flare up against each other. So I'm not doing it justice here on the camera, but take my word for it. Right above where the red betta is, right? And so I've got to go get the net and get them out of there before they get too exhausted. All right, so that's the bow tank here in the living room, my fish room, and give you some sense for what's going on there. We're going to move over to the corner tank, but first let me go get those fish out of there so we can give them a rest. Okay, we're back over in the corner tank, that one that is pie-shaped. And this tank has not had the same problem with algae. Now this is LED lighting, but you remember I did switch to LED lighting on the bow tank. So maybe that's helping too. But that bow tank is clear as a bell. This is too, but it's got a slight yellowish tinge to it, to the eye. I'm not sure what it's going to look like here. And my school of neons that you see in the center started diminishing a little bit, down into about 13 I could count one time. So I just added 10 more to it at a good price. They were $2.49 a piece, or 10 for $17.99. So for $1.80 a piece, that was reasonable. I was tempted to actually get cardinals because they weren't that much more. But I said, I don't know, let's stay with what we've got here. And what else can I tell you here? I've just added 4 young pearl gouramis. Since the pearl gouramis seem to do so well, I try to go with what works. And so you can see up top there one of the pearl gouramis, and where there's one, there's usually more than one. But they've just been introduced into the tank about an hour ago, so still kind of skittish, but you can see up there toward the top. And they're much smaller, of course, than the ones in the bow tank, but hopefully they'll thrive. That's where the that 1 or 2 that I moved over from here, they were doing very well, and I did lose one of those. One disappointment over here, remember we were watching the baby plants from the sword plant, and you can see it on that stem bowing over to the left, actually arching over to the right. They've stopped growing, and they don't have roots on them that I can plant at this point, and so I'm letting them stay up close to the light, figuring that'll help them grow, but not developing the way I thought they would. I hoped I'd have, like 10 more Amazon sword plants. Yeah, rot a rock, huh? And the gravel in this tank doesn't get gummed up with the algae. It does pretty good. And this tank is off from noon to 2, but the rest of the time it's on, starting at 7 in the morning and going off at 10 at night. So don't have the same problem here. It's the same water, of course, and everybody else seems to be doing fine. Now I did catch those 3 fin whatever they are, and I'll see if I can catch one for you here on the camera. I see one up here. There you go. And they don't look like much right here, but when they were challenging each other, they've got like long black fins and a yellow fin at the top that flares up. And so there's 3 of them in here. I was quite surprised that I was able to finally catch the 3 of them, because they figured out where in that tank it was a good place to hide, and they were under the lip of the filter. And my big net, without taking everything off the top of the tank, was having a real challenge at getting to them. But I stuck with it and outsmarted them, and so they're here. So let's see what, get some idea of what they are. I don't think I've seen these before, but they look beautiful. You can see that colorful top and bottom long fin. And so I got 3 of them, figured they would challenge each other and show off why I was attracted to them in the first place. Nothing much new in this tank. Plant-wise, I haven't put any new plants in here recently. So it still looks like a pretty lush garden. Anacris does not do real well in this tank. Okay? And so look over here, and you can see just a couple stems. That was the same type of plant that you saw over in the bow tank. And instead of being lush green and filling out like 6 or 7 branches of it, I've got 3 hanging in there. They look kind of haggard, but they're still green and they're growing. It's just that they're not filling in like the one over there. So I don't know what the difference is. Same water, same change, about a third every week. And just love especially the school of neons hidden in the plants in this particular tank. And they have done rather well for quite a few months now, so I'm pleasantly surprised. And the rest of them you've heard about before. The tiger barbs were raised tiger barbs. They continue to do well. Red-tailed shark, I think, just went by. I could be wrong. And we've got those flying foxes that keep going back and forth. They're thriving. Oh, there's the red-tailed shark. Or no, I'm sorry. That's the rainbow shark, or tricolored shark or something. You see the difference? I don't know if I can find the red-tailed shark in here. Every tank has one red-tailed shark. As I told you, it's one of my favorite fish. And so when I can find it at a reasonable price, and today I saw it for $3.99 for a decent sized one, surprisingly enough. I was going to get it, and I thought, no, I can't do that. I've got 1 in each tank, and 2 or more do not do well together for whatever reason. Oh, there he is, right in the center. Does a good job on the algae, or at least he's always foraging in the plants. And so I think he's helping keep this the way it is. But you see he's maturing nicely. He's got that bright red tail fin and hopefully a white tip on the top fin, the shark top fin, if you will. So anyway, there's an update today. I was on the Pennsylvania side of Highway 95, and since it costs $5 across the bridge from here in New Jersey, I went ahead and went up from Philadelphia, where I was doing some volunteer work, and stopped at the Hidden Reef. I was quite disappointed. Their big tank of plants was pretty empty, and so I didn't get any plants there. And even the fish, they didn't have a large supply, and I thought Memorial Day weekend they would have a lot. Not the case. And then lo and behold, I stopped at the fish factory, which is a very small place just down the road. You have to pass it on my way back, so I always stop in. And it's one of those things, hit and miss. You may find an opportunity, and I take advantage of the opportunity. And so that's where I got the neons today. They wanted $2.99 for them up at the Hidden Reef. And there's that fin, whatever they were calling it. I don't really know what it's called. But like I said, when they're together, they really do come out nice when they flare those fins at each other. So we'll see what happens. But at least they're not being chased by the zebras in this tank. So that's a good thing. And so I rescued them into something which may be a more peaceful environment. So it's green. Fish are doing well. Lost a couple platies recently, but not a big deal. And I've added some color. PetSmart has gone back to having sales on their fish instead of buy 2 get 1 free, which typically wasn't a very good deal. But more recently, the platies go from $2.49 or $2.99 to $1.24. And $1.24, I'll buy 10 of them. And so I've added quite a bit of color to both tanks, as you have seen. And they do rather well. A couple of those platies ended up in the office tank. Nothing much new back there, so I don't think I'll take you back there today. And harvested a couple plants out of there for the tanks out here. And that's always nice not to have to buy the plants. There's that flying fox, one of three. Nice looking fish, and they stay very active. And again, they're always foraging on the plants too, so maybe they're helping me keep the algae down in this particular tank. I'm not sure. Not sure. Hope the new 10 neons will integrate with the school. There's the flying fox. And you see some of the yellow bodies. I'm disappointed. I've got one rainbow fish that came from Ray, and I haven't found any worth buying in the stores to give him some company. So he's doing well by himself, but I sure feel like he's lonely. You know what I mean? And then up top we still have in every tank at least one betta. And the Hidden Reef continues to be my favorite place to get these because they're very good looking fish and they sell for $2.99. They do have more expensive ones, of course, but they tend to be very attractive for a very good price. All right, bye for now.